So there's a show that many people have been talking about in less than glowing terms. And, well, I thought we'd take a second stab at diving into it because why the hell not? It's not like the rest of the world's on fire or anything, right? Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. Before we're all consumed in flames. And with that being said, let's just jump right into whatever horror story is about to unfold.
If you're not going to be a good person, can you please not be a pathological liar at the very least?
I don't buy the argument that she's dumb.
Those hunting for bones. Oh,
I did not like the way the text-to-speech did the use. I didn't like that at all. Thank you for the $5 dono, One-Eyed Heathen.
I agree with that. I don't think she's dumb at all.
She cannot make a point. It is torture. I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. People who can't make points and just... I agree. It's torturous as hell.
On that.
Where do we
begin?
This is a complete clown car. Let's remind folks, this is...
Yes. J.B. Pritzker is the complete clown car. Definitely not this valuetainment show.
This is a guy who's pretending to be a man of the people. He said Republicans should have no peace.
I don't agree with that language. I don't think it's helpful to talk about how, your political opponent should know no peace.
I do. I think my political opponents shouldn't know peace until I and the movement along with me see victory.
That's crazy, but
absolutely
he did say
not.
it.
Not realizing that their leader doesn't
Amen.
actually believe in it and that they don't even know what they're marching for. That's the
Exactly.
problem.
You can outline what's...
Wait, who's that? She's new. Who's that lady? Elizabeth Pipko? Oh, she's the national spokesperson for the Republican Party. Cool. Good job, Anna. Doing some real progressive leftist work here. Incredible stuff. Jesus Christ.
actually in the Green New Deal.
I'm not here to hurt any feelings, but I'm also here to tell the truth.
Sorry, and you've rejected them
Trust
at every
me,
opportunity you've
every
had.
single opportunity.
Purely on the basis
I'm not going to pretend I have. I have not rejected it any opportunity.
But the point is the hypocrisy.
Of course,
that's
but it's not
the
just
issue.
that. It's not. I'm not done though.
Welcome to Her Take, where real conversation happens. You've got differing points of view from all ends of the spectrum, right? Center, left of center, somewhat.
Left of center, I'm not so sure about that one anymore.
And we're always looking for common ground. Today, joining us is Elizabeth Pipko, former GOP spokesperson. Are you ready for this?
I'm so ready for
I
this.
believe you are ready for this. We're going to jump right in. I promised Lindy we would start our second show talking about the 2028 Democratic frontrunners. So let's jump right in.
Why? Wait, no, genuinely, why? Why? Like, it's 2020. The midterms aren't even happening yet. We're not even in the same year as the midterm. Why are you talking about 2028? Why? This is meaningless garbage. I'm just gonna skip this and go to Gavin Newsom.
Bringing up, by the way, performative politics, you lead me right into another potential frontrunner, although I hear he's polling at like 5% possibly for 2028, Gavin Newsom.
We can't.
But this guy has tried. He's taken notes. He's tried to be somewhat critical of his own party. He's tried to reach out to the...
Oh man, Jillian Michaels is like drinking that news scum. Gross. I bet she basically peed herself when he announced that he wanted all Californian cities to ban homeless people.
The other side. He's tried to be antithetical to, everything exists in our silo and we don't reach across the aisle. He's trying to show himself
Just
as
in
that
starting his
guy.
podcast there? I mean, was he doing that before he started the podcast? Was he doing that before Trump won?
He was not, and
of
I
this
will
stuff.
never take that piece of crap seriously. And yes, I'm calling Gavin Newsom, my governor, unfortunately, a piece of crap, until he does some accountability for how he destroyed the state of California.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to talk about like, this nebulous Democratic Party and what they're getting wrong? No, how about look inward? Look inward and take a good hard look at the policies that you championed in our state that have completely destroyed the state. Okay.
Like which ones? Let's list them. I'm interested.
He's trying to blame Donald Trump for the loss of jobs in California.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? The loss of jobs started well before Trump won the election, and it was the result of his policy.
I'm sorry, but I think a lot of the federal layoffs also affected California. A lot of Donald Trump has definitely cut a lot of jobs. It's like one of the main things he's been doing.
Policies, cumbersome regulations that have now led to oil companies, for instance, deciding we're not doing this anymore. We're going to leave. Okay. Bunch of jobs lost.
That's good. Wait, we need to be doing that. The planet is dying. Like, you might not like that, but like, which is more important? Planet existing and not killing us, or oil executives? I think I would take the planet, personally.
Lost because of that. You have rampant crime that Democrats want to deny exists, but
Democrats don't deny the crime exists. Crime has been going fucking down. Like, I'm sorry. If you want to help do more about the crime, build housing for the homeless. Fuck, man.
it obviously does when businesses close up shop and move to other states because the cost of doing business is so expensive. Insuring businesses in California is astronomical.
It's one of the largest economies in the world. And yeah, there are a lot of problems there, but like, it's not impossible to do business there, clearly. God damn it.
Because of the issues with crime.
Specifically theft, right? Like, let's
Theft,
be clear on
yeah.
that
Oh
for
my
anybody
gosh.
who doesn't know. They literally made it not a crime or a misdemeanor or
that's
something if you were going to
yes.
steal.
Man, I'm so glad that this lady's talking about something she has no knowledge of. They literally made it not a crime or a misdemeanor or something if you were trying to steal. No. Actually, they didn't.
But
Newsom opposed the change, even though we
Yes.
lost.
But there were
That's true.
major corporations that left the state because of that,
So
right?
this was Proposition
well, let me tell you guys, it gets even more-
47, right?
So Prop
Go for it.
47,
And then
Prop
36
47
repealed it.
Yes. So
Lay it
Prop
out, Anna.
47 passed. Voters were lied to about what Prop 47 was actually going to do. Part of it was reclassifying some pretty serious crimes as misdemeanors. And so we all saw the consequences of that. It led to smash and grab crime.
Hey, just real quick. Just real quick. Here's from the Public Policy Institute of California. Preliminary crime data for 29 of California's law enforcement agencies, representing close to 1/4 of the state's population, points towards broad decreases in violent and property crime in 2024. Aggravated assaults and robberies decreased by about 4% and 5% respectively. For the first year since 2020, auto theft fell by roughly 12%. Compared to 2019, property crime was 11% lower, but violent crime was higher by about 6%. So, that's quite interesting there. Yeah, actually, pretty cool. Trending down across the board. But yeah, we're not going to talk about that, I guess.
It led to open air drug markets. And so voters by 2024 had enough, and they voted overwhelmingly to pass something known as Prop 36 to reverse some of the policies that were implemented as a result of Prop 47. Now, here's the problem, though. No one knows about this. No one talks about this, but I'm here to tell you, Gavin Newsom, in an effort to save California money, preemptively shut down 4 state prisons. There is no room to put any of these inmates in. Right now, state prisons are transferring criminals to county jails that are already overflowing.
Hey, by the way, you might be asking yourself real quick, what is Proposition 47? What is that? Hey, what is Prop 47? that's just a buzzword that I don't know anything about. I could just nod along, or I could maybe look it up. On November 4th, 2014, California voters passed Proposition 47, a law that changed certain low-level crimes from potential felonies to misdemeanors. The savings from reduced incarceration costs will be invested into drug and mental health treatment, programs for at-risk students in K-12 schools, and victim services. And again, treating this as an issue like it just kind of came to fruition in 2022, 2023, 2024. It's been a law since 2014 for 11 years. And it doesn't make, stealing legal or whatever. What it does is impose like misdemeanor status on shoplifting. So you can commit you can do shoplifting in California below a certain threshold of value. If you start shoplifting expensive items, then it gets categorized as a misdemeanor that cops will, arrest you for. And if you continue to shoplift, that will still be a felony, actually. There is an escalating, set of thresholds. Yeah, it's under like $700. They might have bumped it up to like $1,000 or something like that. But like, again, this is not the rampant issue that is constantly made out to be by right-wing publications and outlets. Again, largely what propagates like this belief that it's just like legal to steal in California is conservative misinformation and the willful assistance thereof by, patsy liberals.
They're overcrowded. County jails have no choice but to just release inmates regardless of how much time they've served. So even if it's a serious crime, even if they've been sentenced to decades behind bars, they're being released after serving 2-3 years because there's no room for them. That's why Gavin Newsom was against Prop 36.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I've experienced this personally.
Yeah.
There was a guy on his third strike. Oh my gosh, my son had just been born, so this would have been 10 years ago. But it was his third strike. He broke into our house, stole my car.
Oh my God.
Did not hurt us. It was actually...
Were you there?
Thank God.
We were there. We didn't even know he was in the house. It's a bit of a longer story. But when they got him and they found his stuff, he had a video camera, duct tape, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, because it was the third strike and he committed numerous other crimes, he was supposed to get a pretty significant amount of jail time. COVID comes around 2020 and I get the letter. He's out of jail, just letting you know. I had no idea they would notify the person, I guess, in the court case. But I've experienced it firsthand. He is just, Gavin Newsom is a wrecking ball to California. He is, as Corolla says, a policy disaster.
I do want to say, and again, I
will say it's terrible that happened to her and her family, but also like, so the bad thing that happened here was somebody got prison time 10 years ago, and then after serving 10 years in prison, got released a bit early. Like, I don't know. I think that sounds fine to me, actually. That actually sounds okay.
to be that person, but I do need to call out one person who's been funding these progressive DAs around the country.
Soros.
And no, it's not an anti-Semitic.
Soros.
No, wait, it's not an anti-Semitic conspiracy to say it's George Soros, because he has, and it's not just
That
California.
is true. He has been funding these.
And when Anna agrees with
candidates.
me, you know that I'm making a compelling.
Man, that's so cool. That's really it's totally not anti-Semitic, bro. Trust me.
Point. I live in Philadelphia, and the Wawa across my street is shut down and shuttered because of all the thefts. Okay, and they just don't prosecute these.
I'm sorry, you're like a millionaire donor to the Democratic Party, and you live across the street from a Wawa. All right.
Petty crimes, but you know what? It's the broken window theory. If you don't go after these petty crimes, they escalate. And
yeah. You know what we need to do? Broken windows policing. Hey, how did that go again? How did that go? Oh, did they just do broken windows policing and everything went great? Yeah, I'm sure that's the first. You know what? Let's just Google broken windows policing. Let's see. So it turns out they stopped doing it because it was racist as fuck. Basically, it leads to the criminalization of communities of color who are typically disenfranchised. And on top of that, because of the theory of broken windows policing, you get the problem of over-policing certain communities and therefore over-criminalizing different areas of town as, the bad part of town. And that then leads to disproportionate prison populations. It leads to different populations of people being arrested at different rates, despite the fact that they commit crimes at the same rate. It's a whole thing. It's racist as fuck. And that's why they stopped doing it. Okay? God.
And I used to live on Rittenhouse Square. They burned down my street. My entire street smelled of burned rubber for an entire week during the George Floyd summer.
Oh man, that's so rough for you. Man, a whole week? A whole week? How will you ever recover from this? A whole week 5 years ago? Oh no.
And no one faced any sort of consequences for that. It was the wealthiest.
No one ever faced any consequences for making my street smell like burned rubber for a week. Whenever this lady talks, we need this.
Part of Philadelphia, and they rejoiced over the destruction of this historic district. And George Soros goes around the country funding these progressive DAs like Larry Krasner, who's my DA, and they campaign on letting criminals off. That's literally their platform. It's their criminal.
No, it's not. There's literally no campaign in the history of politics where people are like, hey, you know what we should do? We should make crime legal. We should just, you know what? You want to do murders? Let's make it legal. No one's doing that. Stop being silly.
Justice reform. Criminal justice reform is a euphemism for letting criminals go.
It's a euphemism for trying to abolish prisons and police. That is what they actually want to do. Don't let anyone gaslight you.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool if we could set up a system of justice where we didn't need prisons. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool if we could set up a system of criminal justice that didn't rely on police. We the entire premise of abolish the police is not just oh yeah, we get rid of police and then there's just no policing apparatus. It's more we abolish the current system we have built up of policing in order to rebuild it from the ground up with something better and more accountable to the public that they are supposed to serve.
Into thinking they're trying to reform our criminal justice system.
Yes.
They're not interested in reform. They think that our criminal justice system is rotten from the bottom up and they don't want anything to do with it. They just want to abolish it.
Hey, can Frank Serpico go back to New York? Just out of curiosity. Was Serpico ever able to go back into New York City? Can someone refresh my memory? Anyone? Is he still to this day not able to enter New York because the NYPD will fucking murder him? Frank who? Frank Serpico. There's a very famous movie titled Serpico about him. Yeah, famously the one good NYPD officer. Serpico basically testified against officers against his fellow officers about widespread corruption in the NYPD. And then they shot him in the face. They tried to fucking kill him, shot him in the face, and he still has bullet fragments in his brain to this day. The NYPD led him to an apartment to murder him. And yeah. So to this day, because he testified against the NYPD, even though he was an NYPD officer, he can't go back to New York City because they'll try and fucking kill him.
Why, though? Someone tell me what the motives are for doing such a thing. I mean, this man's name has been thrown out now. By the way, speaking of oligarchy, this proves the point that the Dems have their George Soroses, and as you taught
Both
me,
parties
their Reid
have their
Hoffmans.
corruption.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's totally equal. You know, like we have George Soros on the left, and then on the right they have all the rest of them. That's how this works, right? He has a movie. Yeah, he was played by Al Pacino.
For real.
Unilaterally. But why?
It's supposedly a good movie. I've never seen it.
Really,
Well,
just
they think that black and brown
philosophically.
people are under siege, and this is their way to
Is
have
that it?
operations. I think it's a part of it.
Is that it?
They really think that's
That
it.
they think
And
it's
by the way,
systemic
Anna
racism?
has been assaulted on the street. I've been
know.
assaulted. Let's just be clear what
I
happened.
know.
She's been assaulted. I've been assaulted, but neither of us felt comfortable, really being out there because they were terrorists. Well, the person who did it to me was black, and I was talking to a loved one, my family. He's like, you shouldn't say anything because they're going to paint you as a racist for being a
That
terrorist.
happened to you. And they just, I remember, tell
my
the story real quick,
assaulter
Anna.
was not black.
Right, and they
But they
presumed-
assumed that he was. So I got assaulted by a homeless person in my own neighborhood as I was walking my
Right.
dog. But what stood out to me about all the backlash I got was, apparently since the perpetrator was a homeless guy, he's marginalized, and I must not ever say anything negative about him, even though he assaulted me, because it's going to stigmatize.
You can criticize someone who assaulted you. Like I don't think that's like I don't think that's at all the core issue. Like, well, why does race matter to Lindy? Because Lindy Lee's racist as fuck. That's why it matters. But yeah, like Anna can criticize like a homeless person for assaulting her. Like that's fine. Anyone who told her differently is weird as fuck. But I will also say that like I don't think this is a reason to like throw aside your beliefs on like I don't know, housing the homeless.
Homeless people. That was the number one argument. But then the other argument was, you're racist by talking about this. I'm like, why am I racist? They assumed he was a black guy.
Which is racist of them.
Yeah, exactly.
It is racist,
It is racist
of
of
them to
them.
make that
Yeah.
assumption.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
insane.
No, and so like these little things have happened and they've woken me up to what the
And Amy Dangerfield just so delighted.
reality is. But just to answer your question, Jillian, I think for the activists, they genuinely do believe that this is an anti-black racist criminal
It's
justice
misguided
system.
altruism.
Yeah. There's
Wait, it is though? Like for a whole host of well-documented, well-researched reasons, like redlining, the entire history of like disenfranchisement propagated by slavery, like there are so many different reasons that like compound upon one another to create like a system of policing, like let alone the fact that like our modern police are descended from slave catchers. Like there a whole host of reasons that there is racial bias in our policing and our criminal justice systems, like the war on drugs, like there's so many different things, economic, social, geographic. So like, yeah, no, like denying this is just denying reality, frankly. Yeah, exactly, Pirate Amir. Even conservative historians recognize that the justice system is racist in this country.
that. And by the way, there have been in the past examples of racist practices within the criminal justice system. But the argument that I'm trying
In the past, though.
to make is let's reform it and fix it, not abolish it.
Right.
Yeah, but one might ask at a certain point if, say, for example, the entire NYPD was corrupt and like would kill a person even 60 years after they testified, maybe abolishing it and rebuilding it from the ground up with a different kind of structure altogether that is more accountable to the community might be more beneficial, right? And obviously there'd need to be a lot of research done on like what that structure would look like, but one could do that. One could make the argument that it is so corrupt that we need to do that.
Here's the thing. Then you have these pro-corporate neoliberal politicians like Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, Ellen Smith Serpico is 89 years old.
They want to save money. they want nothing more
And
than
make
to use
money.
the
They want to personally make money.
Yeah.
Yo, Konami the Alpha, Puerto Rican black beans, best beans.
The state is running in a multi-billion-dollar deficit.
Yes.
And that's my other favorite thing about this guy is he loves to tout about how it's like the 5th largest economy in the world. And all I can think about is the following sentence, which is, that you have destroyed.
Yeah.
But this is why you can't run. You mentioned the word baggage. You just sat here, both of you, and mentioned being assaulted in your state. He has so much baggage, he has nothing left. When you talk about him versus Stephen A. Smith, I know people are doubting Stephen A. Smith. I'm not.
Also, can we just for a minute? A lot of people get assaulted. That's a part of life. It's not pleasant, but a lot of people get attacked or mugged or robbed. That sucks. It's not fun, but it does happen. Importantly, when it does happen, you shouldn't let that turn you into a raging conservative lunatic. Full stop.
I worked for Donald Trump in 2016. I remember when he was polling at 2% and Jeb Bush was polling at 45. And everyone was like, this is the guy.
clap.
Exactly. That's the exact same thing.
I'll give it up.
But that's the exact same thing. It is this I've been around
that
forever.
was the moment. Remember when Jeb was like, please
Please
clap.
clap.
He was clapping.
I'm sorry. I thought you were saying
No,
please
because he
clap for
was-
the fact that he went from 2% to president. And I was like, that's
No,
fair.
because he was a
I'll give it
horrible
up.
candidate. And that's what happens.
I hate Jillian Michaels a lot. She might be the worst person on this show. And that's saying a lot.
Stage, no one was clapping, so he's like, please clap.
Oh my God,
And that's the
really?
Gavin Newsom.
That's how little, by the way, I was paying attention to Republican candidates at that time. How about not at
That's about as much as I feel like you pay attention to politics right now.
all?
Yeah.
I was all in on Hillary, which we have to do a whole show on her.
I want to hear all about that.
We gotta all do. That's a different one.
I have a lot to
But
say on that.
I want to switch over because this is one that I'm struggling with, and I want your opinions on it. I've looked at the landscape, and I think on the Republican side, there are a lot of promising people. I happen to love Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, same.
I'm sorry, I don't think you're aware of how much I hate these people. John Thomas.
Same.
I happen to love her,
the
and I
best.
could litigate the frickin' Assad conversation all day long. I think I have a
What?
pretty good understanding of what happened there.
What?
But JD Vance. I wasn't a
Relitigate the Assad conversation? What the fuck, man?
fan, but I'm coming around. All of these different.
Is there anyone
so
in
I
your
thought.
mind, Anna, going into 2028? Is
All these people, I can predict what lane they're going to be driving in. Jillian Michaels is like a drunk driver. I genuinely have no idea where she's going to go. No. Lindy Lee might actively be the worst, but she's also predictably just insane. As opposed to Jillian Michaels, where she's just comically drunk driving and may well go off a cliff or into the TNT factory or into a sub basement of a terrorism factory. I was trying to think of something worse, but she's honestly, if there is a hell, it's something close to this show.
there one
Yeah.
single candidate in your mind who you're like, I could really back and get behind this person?
For president?
For president?
Or for
Yeah.
California governor?
Well, either.
Let's do both.
either,
Let's
yeah.
start with governor and then move on to president.
Look, for California, I really like Katie Porter, who won
geez, yeah.
she won a seat
She
in
came to my
Orange
house.
County.
You like her?
She came to my house. I have a story about that. Please go.
Oh, well, I don't know
okay.
about her on a more personal level, but
More coming.
in terms of her politics, she really stayed away from the muck, like the culture
did,
war
yeah.
muck.
Okay.
And she focuses most of her attention on bread and butter issues, and we desperately need that. So I would be open to voting for her for governor of California. Okay.
As long as she doesn't support trans people, though. If she supports trans people and they're birthing people ways, no ma'am.
And by the way, again, she ran in a purple district, meaning that she was appealing to independents and maybe even some conservative-leaning voters, which is a good sign. For president, I can't think of a.
Is this show even popular? Genuinely hard to tell. This episode has 63,000 views so far. It's not doing great.
Single person right now, to be
Really?
honest. Yeah.
No one. Wow.
No one.
You gotta remember, these presidential candidates, they have these delusions of grandeur.
No way.
So their calculus is not the same as a normal person's. They really think they're God. Like Gavin Newsom was reaching out to me in 2022, 3 years ago, about running for president. And if you're reaching out to me, I'm a fundraiser in Pennsylvania, you have presidential ambitions. So these people have been laying the groundwork.
If he was reaching out to you about running for president, yeah, I think it would be a safe bet that he has presidential ambitions. Good job. Fuck.
Work for years. Like Hillary Clinton was running for president her whole entire life.
But Hillary Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar. Hillary Clinton,
Bill Clinton was.
Oh, she was? I thought she was
She
also.
wasn't, no.
But she was Secretary
She was
of
at
State.
Yale Law School, yeah.
She
She was a
was
real
a
person.
senator.
Yeah, she was
She
qualified.
was Secretary
Yeah,
of
she was
State.
100%
Like she
qualified.
actually trained for the job, which is the one thing. And I appreciate your position of like it. You really just have to be a good person to run for office. But I'll never forget this conversation I had with you and Michael Schellenberger.
Okay.
And I think, Anna, because you're so learned and erudite about all of this, you underestimate the skill set required because after the California fires, people thought, like, is she trying to run for office? And I thought, like, how absurd that you would think I could ever even conceivably do such a job. And I'm on the phone, or I'm on Zoom with you and then with Michael. And Michael, who had run for governor, was laying out all of the things Gavin Newsom should have done prior to the fire.
Oh, well, if he ran for governor, clearly he knows what he's doing.
Knowing we were getting that kind of weather, knowing the issues that we have with the homeless, meth addicts starting fires, knowing the issues that we have with you.
Man, I fucking love the constant denigration of the homeless. It's so great.
Is this what the youngins call just yapping?
No, this is more insidious. This is, like, I don't know. I don't know how to put it in an amusing way. I tried and failed. This is a bunch of women talking in, like, the most, like, awful, conservative, racist, and, like, bigoted ways possible about just, like, hey, wouldn't it be neat if, like, we had a way of getting rid of all the homeless people, but, you know, not building them homes? What if we built them like some kind of fun day camp? What if we built like day camps for the homeless? You know, like they could go there and they could play. We'd build them like little cabins for the day, you know, and then at night they could not leave because we would lock the gates. Tee, wouldn't that be grand? Like this is like some like adjacent, like attempting to maintain the veneer of respectability and like niceties of social society, of like socialite society rather, while like saying some of the most despicable shit imaginable.
Utility companies' infrastructure, which you've highlighted brilliantly. And all I could think to myself is, holy shit, someone better know how to do this job. Who gets this job?
You have to want to do it because you want to be a public servant, not because.
This is probably one of the grossest conversations I've ever heard. Yeah. I mean, like, episode 1 was also heinous. As John Thomas points out in Riverboat chat, Lindy Lee did call undocumented immigrants parasites. So, in the first episode of the show, like, this is a pretty disgusting program.
You want to further your career goals. And right now, all the incentives for elected office are in the wrong place. I think that the wrong people are being incentivized to run. Voters are left with no choice but to pick between really crappy candidates. Yeah. And we need to find a way to make running for public office more appealing for people who are problem solvers. Right? So when I look at my state, and look, it's dysfunctional right now, and it breaks my heart because I was born and raised in California. I love California. I want to fix it. I wish that there were people who wanted to fix it running for public office in California, but we don't have that.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I want to get Katie Porter, and then I want to hear everyone's thoughts actually on who they'd like to see run.
Well, I also just want to say one last thing about Newsom. if you're not going to be a good person, can you please not be a pathological liar at the very least?
He's unable to do that.
They're conjoined.
I want to say, so he is out there doing a 180 on trans, but he's been on the forefront of trans advocacy.
I've seen some people do some 180s on trans. I'm just throwing out there. I've seen some people do some 180s on trans. It's just you got to know the right website to go to. A 180 on yes, I'm definitely talking about skateboarding tricks and definitely nothing else.
All these years, are you treating us like? Why are you treating us like idiots, or that we were born?
Gee, Lindy, I have no idea. Why are we treating you like idiots? God, I feel like my face has aged like 5 years over the course of this segment. Yeah, I don't know. Why are we treating you like you were born yesterday, Lindy? It's who can say?
Yesterday, we remember distinctly he was one of the most ardent trans warriors. Not only that, he has a gumption to rewrite history and say that he knew all along that Biden's brain was melting. But not only did Gavin Newsom lie, he was the biggest liar. He was the one, and I was there. He was the one in the spin room lying to the entire world on the night of the debate, saying it was just a cold. Nothing to see here. Move along. But he is such a congenital liar. Now he's saying, but I knew this all along. I wanted to say it, whatever. You can't rewrite history like that.
But Lindy, he did know it all along, number one.
He lied.
But you want to know something? He was running this shadow campaign during the presidential election. Why would he have a debate with
Ron
DeSantis during?
Because he was setting himself up to run in 2028. He wants to be seen as like the reasonable alternative to Trump. Like that's
during that presidential election cycle. He did it because he was hoping that
Biden's
going to drop out. There might be like a quick primary. Obviously, I'm going to be the chosen one.
Right.
He was just setting himself up to be
Absolutely.
the Democratic nominee. And thank
of course he was.
God that didn't happen. But we must prevent it from happening in the future.
Right, and something that has not been reported.
At all costs.
When he did that debate with Ron DeSantis, people in Harris.
Urban Dictionary failed to reveal to me what you mean by 180 there. I think I can figure it out, though. Look, if you're saying I think I can figure it out with a smiley face, you figured it out, okay? It was a sex thing.
World were pissed. Their heads were on fire because they felt that he was stealing their thunder.
And doing something that she could never do.
Exactly, because she could never think on her feet. And the two of them were at loggerheads.
Yeah. No one else would be unable to think on their feet.
But it never broke into the press. They hated each other. Even the staff did. Because they felt like it was her turn as a black South Asian.
What's the music playing? It's Oblivion music. Because I think of Lindy Lee as like an NPC in a video game. She's just on autopilot. She's just saying what she's gonna say. She wrote a script beforehand, like, I'm gonna bring up these 3 points, regardless of what anyone says.
Asian woman. How dare a white man take her place?
Yeah, can we just have the best candidates run
Exactly.
and not do this weird, it's honestly bigotry. It's just bigotry. That's all it is, right? When you're just judging someone based on the color
Is she a trans woman? No, I don't think any of these women are trans.
of their skin or other characteristics that they have no control over. We should be focused on who's qualified, who's speaking to the issues that Americans are most concerned about, and we should move forward. But this idea that you have to wait your turn, what is this? What do you mean wait your turn? Are you a good candidate or not?
I mean, I agree with that. You should prioritize being a good candidate. I'm done watching this. I can't. Apparently, the next section of this show is just titled "Stolen Election," and I can't handle that. I just wanted to pop in and see what her take episode 2 was like. I am also just gonna throw this out there. Anna, this is a bad outfit. Burn it. That's it.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.